Now, can they come in at any point during the presentation, or is it?
Okay. Already, it looks like we have a couple of participants. Welcome to the Virtual College Exploration for all Ohio students, sponsored by the Ohio Association for College Admission Counseling and Strive Scan. Thank you for joining us. A few housekeeping announcements before we get started. You can use the Q&A button on your screen to type your questions to our presenters at any time. Your camera and microphone are off so the panelists cannot see or hear you. This is just one of the many different sessions happening, so be sure to check out the full schedule of oacac.org. And this presentation is being recorded and will be available within about a week at that same website, oacac.org. And now I'd like to turn it over to our presenter.
Great, thank you so much. I'm going to get my screen shared here with our presentation on it. So we will be ready to go. There we go. Hi, everybody. I'm Linda Beals. I am a Senior Associate Director of Admission here at Wittenberg. I've been at the university for 20 years. I've had a couple different worn a couple different hats. I was the Director of Alumni for 10 years, so I have a pretty good grounding at Wittenberg. I also graduated from WIT in 1987. A couple of things. I think it's probably best, I'll see questions as they appear, but also it might be best that I let me take this out of full mode here. It might be best that I answer all the questions at the end of the presentation. So can line your questions up out there. Happy to answer anything. And we'll be typing those questions back to you. If for some reason you have questions afterward and would like to ask those, you can always email me at lbeals, L-B-E-A-L-S, @wittenberg.edu. I'd be happy to address any questions via email also. So a little bit about Wittenberg. We're going to talk a lot about the student experience, different majors, athletics, all of those items shown right here. However, I'll give you a little history about the university. So Wittenberg University was founded in 1845. It is a Lutheran affiliated school with the ELCA. The university itself is roughly on the main campus is about 82 acres. We have about 120 acres all said and done with a land lab and also some additional athletic fields that are within walking distance of the campus. So it gives you a little bit of grounding for the main campus here. We are a liberal arts school. We're a private institution, a liberal arts school. So students who come are going to take a lot of different types of coursework. One thing they're going to be asked to do is to take a liberal arts core. And so that gives them kind of a breadth of additional subject matter outside of their major, their minor, maybe they're double majoring. So it gives them some additional students, additional grounding in a lot of different various areas that they may not ever think about touching on. So we're going to go to the academics. We have about 50 programs. So that can have, for instance, business has 5 different majors under that area. Our top, as far as the number of students affiliated with any particular major, our top 5 are business would be the largest, then biology, then education, then psychology, and then English. We do offer some new programs that have just come on the scene here at the university. We're working in data science, data analytics. We're working with a new program of cybersecurity, where we are working in conjunction with Wright-Patterson Air Force Base, which is very close to us. And those students are coming out with some top civilian clearance, security clearance, coming out of that program upon their graduation. We also have an exercise science program, which has, I like to say, exploded, but it is really taking students who have an interest in physical therapy, just fitness, nutrition, occupational therapy, and taking them through that major and preparing them for additional schooling for a couple of those areas. Of course, everywhere environmental science is big, especially here. And Wittenberg is also, in the biology area, the home of a marine biology program. Our marine biology program is, people find it very interesting that in the center of Ohio, there is a school that has marine biology. And that is really due to our wonderful relationship with Duke University and the ability for our students to go study at the Duke Marine Lab in Beaufort, North Carolina for a semester. Plus also there are some long weekend field trips that happen out there for marine biology. They also offer the ability to go study 3 weeks in the Bahamas for a field experience in every June. So I think those are some real highlights of our programs. We just launched a nursing program, a 4-year nursing degree. We had it where it was a 1-to-1 program with Clark State, and we just brought it on campus, and it now has a full 4-year program here at the university. So students at WIT will study, pick up obviously a major. Some will double major, but also there are minors in almost every one of those specific major areas. So really able to double up on many subject areas. Our student athletes, and we like to highlight them as being, we're a campus community, roughly 1,600 students. About 40% of the student body participates in a varsity athletic team. And those teams are listed here on the page, on the slide. We also have a great intramural and club program where students in clubs will compete against other universities' club teams, as well as our intramurals are basically campus team to campus team. Well, I say 40% of the students are varsity athletes here. There is approximately 70% of our student body did participate in a sport in high school. So that gives a little bit of, lays the groundwork for a little bit of the competitive edge here at the university. We did just undergo a large construction project, capital project on campus. That was the building of our health, wellness, and athletic complex, renovating our old field house, the 1929 field house, updates to the 1982 field house arena and natatorium, and then the construction of a full indoor facility that is now titled the Steamer Center, thanks to a gift from an alumni couple who is the owner of Stanley Steamer. And so that facility is a great, not only sports space, but an event space. It has a 300-meter track, so our track team now has a full-size track for competition for indoor track meets during the indoor season. We've had all sorts of student events in there, as well as intramural and club teams, as well as faculty and staff having the ability to go walk the track and get fit. So we'll move on to our next slide, and that is, what does it mean to be an active citizen at Wittenberg and to be involved? So our students, one thing at Wittenberg, we have a mandatory community service requirement, 30 hours. So it's not a lot, but it is a class. And our students are all involved in our local community here. So with our community service requirement, our students can get out to one of 45 different sites that our Director of Community Service has available, or if they find that they have a liking of, potentially doing something different that's not one of those 45, they can petition to do that. The community itself at Wittenberg engages with the Springfield community. We have adopted a neighborhood and a school, and we call it the Promise Neighborhood. And our students are very involved in that. Some other things our students do outside of campus would be study abroad. About 35% of our students do engage in a study abroad program or study away. So study away would be something like the Bahamas or our Wittenberg and Washington, D.C. semester program. But our study abroad programs, we have 4 that our university run. So those are programs that our faculty are leading, and they are only Wittenberg students. That is Wittenberg and Wittenberg, Germany, Wittenberg in Costa Rica, Wittenberg in Cape Town, South Africa. And then we have a 4th one that is is run in the summer, and it's a June program, 1 month, where our students get involved in Lesotho, Africa, and that meets their community service requirement. The community service requirement being met in that program, working with orphans, orphanages, and engaging with the young people of Lesotho. So that's how our community is engaging within Springfield and also around the world. Fine arts are a big thing at the university. I like to say it's one of those areas where our students, if they're not majoring in one of the fine art areas, they are getting involved. The students, of course, it would be a liberal arts requirement. Core course that they take something in the arts, whether it be music, the visual arts, or theater or dance. So they have exposure into those areas. A couple of really fun things are we have a ceramics program, which is seen here, and our community sponsors our Empty Bowls program. That is where we will have 1,000 bowls thrown by students, alumni, faculty, and staff. And then they sell them. We invite in the entire Springfield community. They can purchase a bowl, and then we all have a meal together of soup and salad. So the proceeds from that go to the Second Harvest Food Bank here in town. And so that is a great collaborative effort between Springfield and Wittenberg, and really involving and engaging a lot of students. Wittenberg's, any of the organizations, clubs, ensembles, a cappella groups, any of those students can participate in without majoring in music. We have a great graphic arts program in the visual arts. So a lot of good things for students to look in to continue talents they may have, or to explore and expand just their knowledge of some of those different fine arts areas. One thing Wittenberg is known for is our students are overly engaged, I'll say. Our students, I always say they tend to be 2+. So they're here studying their coursework, figuring out what they want to become, what they want to do as a, as a career, but they're also getting some leadership skill development and expansion of their own personal being through different organizations. So like most schools, we have over 100 organizations and clubs. They're not all listed here, but students get involved. So the 2+ is they're involved in about 2 or more activities outside of the classroom. Those range from everything from Greek life, which is about 35% of our student body participates in the fraternity or sorority system. They can be involved in writing for the school newspaper. Student Senate is our student governing body, and they get involved in that governance association. Clubs affiliated with all the academic programs. Of course, athletics we've already mentioned, but students are really engaged and involved, and that's one thing we really highlight, that our students do get involved. It's one way that they grow, that they have different friend groups from their major areas, and so that they really connect while they're on campus. So our students, when will you achieve independence? Well, about 98% of our students are residential students, so we do not have a large commuter population. Our students, for the first 2 years, live in the residence halls. That's a requirement. The next 2 years, they have the opportunity to live in either campus-owned apartments or campus-owned houses. And so those fall into some different areas. Some of the houses are themed living houses, like the Eco House, the Geek House, Interfaith House, different houses. And those all become affiliated or are affiliated with different clubs as well. On-campus meal dining services. We have several eateries around campus so that students can not always have to go into the dining hall. So those are opportunities for students to, explore and find out what their food interests are and where they might want to eat. Meal plans are offered for all students that are resident students, as well as those living in the off-campus apartments and housing. So mealtime always tends to be very community-based. Students, that's where they connect with people they haven't been with and connect up with their friend groups. So outcomes is a big thing. What are students going to do when they leave Wittenberg? One thing we make sure that they do while they're on campus is network. They're not only networking with their professors, they're networking with alumni, with parents of students, with community leaders and members here in Springfield. So our students leave with a very good sense of and connection points all around the country and the world. So many of our students will hold internships beginning their sophomore year. If not sophomore spring term, they will happen sophomore summer and then on into their junior year. If they're doing an internship here in town, that is orchestrated through our Vocation Career Center. And those are wonderful opportunities, and they fall into all different majors. Another internship possibility is our Washington semester. A lot of students think that that is all about political science and poli-sci majors going to Washington, but it's for any major. And the internships are 4 days a week. They are set up by a director of internships affiliated with that program. The program is Lutheran Schools. We're in a consortium with them, and they are all part of the program. Housing is included. 4 days of internships, 2 nights of classes, Tuesdays and Thursdays, and Friday is DC exploration. It is an amazing program for any major. And so we find those internships to be extremely beneficial to our students. The other thing, our alumni are very willing and engaged with the university and very willing to host students in internships anywhere the students want to travel. So our internship area and career and vocation development will allow students to explore those, do some mock interviews with alumni. They have mentorships with alumni, and our alumni are engaging in our students' success. So those internships, many times, of course, and the hope is that they lead to jobs should the student really engage and really like the internship opportunity that they've been involved in. With that, we have faculty advising that takes place. Students meet with their advisor every semester, if not more. That advising is guiding them in the direction of making sure their course content is what they need to be successful and what they want what their career aspirations are. So our faculty have been voted by the Princeton Review, ranked by the Princeton Review as 4th in the country for most accessible faculty, and that plays into our student success, not only in the classroom, but outside of the classroom. Students going on to grad schools or professional school, med school, vet, optometry, dentistry, PT school, OT school, they know our professors know them so well that the recommendations are a very simple process to write for those schools. Another thing, our alumni get engaged with our students who are going on for advanced degrees is that we have them that have most likely attended those schools. And so in doing that connection and making those connections with our alumni, they can share, they can write letters of recommendation to get into the schools, just a really, really involved alumni base. So I'm going to open it up for questions, but I also wanted to ask I'm here for questions. I can also go on take anybody on a virtual tour if that's what they'd like to do. We have some participants out here, and if you have any questions, feel free to put them in the Q&A box. Be happy to help get those answered. And there's none, let me see. No questions out there. Great, okay, so the question is, would like to know the profile of the student that's most successful at Wittenberg. That's a great question. So the profile of the Wittenberg student, GPA, high school GPA average is about a 3.4. ACT test scores about a 24. We are a test score optional school. So test scores, and we have been, it wasn't due to COVID-19 that we went test score optional. We've been test score optional since 2007. Our test score optional process is students can submit test scores, or they opt on their application to not include them in the review of their application. There is no penalty either way. So we just ask that the student take into consideration really what their scores are, look at our averages in the profile, and see where they fall. Along with that, though, I could talk a little bit about the application process. We are a Common App school. Our applications are open, both our Wittenberg application as well as the Common App is open. We have deadlines, so early decision is November 1. Early action is where we really drive our students hard to apply by that December 1st deadline. The December 1st deadline, I say we have application deadlines, but we're rolling acceptance. So our first students who have applied today is September 15th, and this is our first batch of acceptance letters going out. So we do not hold the application acceptances or application decisions until a student, until a set date. We're releasing acceptance notifications all the time, continually. So along with the application, when students apply, they're applying for merit-based scholarships. Those merit-based scholarships at Wittenberg range from $17,000 to $30,000. The tuition, room, board, and fees at Wittenberg is $53,000 a year. And those scholarships absolutely are wonderful and help. If students apply we have an incentive to get an application in. So if they apply by November 15th, they are given $1,000 for all 4 years. And that is our Tiger Priority Application Award. Along with that, any students who know any current students, any alumni, current parents, or if anybody is Lutheran and can have a member of the employee of the Lutheran Church, they can refer the student for a $1,000 referral award, and those come into our office, and that is for $1,000 for all 4 years. The Merit-Based Scholar Award will come right out on the acceptance. So you've applied for it by filling out the application for admission. We're a free application, Common App and our app. And with that merit-based scholarship coming out on your acceptance, then we roll right into financial aid season, October 1st. And we'll start awarding full financial aid awards December 1 this year, as well as we offer the net price calculator. There's 3 versions of it out there, and if you want to do those and have any questions about the results, feel free to give us a call or email me, and we can set up a time to talk about it. The net price calculator is a really good indicator of how much financial assistance on top of the scholarship you'd be getting if you were to attend Wittenberg. There are a couple other scholarship opportunities that I like to highlight, and they are our special interest awards. Those fall into special categories: entrepreneurship, environmental science, chemistry, biology, business. They are all listed out there. Then we also have leadership and community service. We find a lot of students hold a leadership role in high school, in anything, or in their community, or in church related activities. And I highly encourage students to apply for those special interest awards. You can be awarded more than one, but you can only accept one. And we really like to engage our students in applying for those. They're an additional $2,000. Then we also offer the ability for a student to have a first-year research experience with some of our amazing professors, and that goes, you interview directly with the professor and they select a student. You can also couple all of these. So you're going to get your merit award. You're going to get your Priority Tiger application award. You're going to hopefully get a referral award. You can get a special interest award and a first-year research award. First-year research is $2,000. It's kind of along the lines of work study, but it falls a little bit outside the realm of that. And the students end up being published researchers with our faculty, as new students, as in their freshman first year. So we're really excited about that program. Any other questions? Let's see. What changes have you made on campus for the questions? What changes have you made on campus for students in response to COVID? We started 1 week early. We started on the 17th, and we will not have a fall break. And we will, our students will complete all of their studies before Thanksgiving. They will go home and then they will have their final exams remotely. So that was the original plan. Students came on campus. We went through 3 weeks of class. We had a slight outbreak, nothing major. Our number was at 70, but we were doing our own contact tracing. So what we found was we were quarantining a lot of students who were in contact with people who were tested, and the test results hadn't been back yet. So it was pulling a lot of students out of the classroom. In doing that, we decided to go remote for 2 weeks. This is the last week, the second week of the remote learning. And we will, I guess the senior staff is going to be making their decision if we'll take another week of remote or head back into the classroom. On campus, I'd like to say, aside from hand washing stations, a lot of hand sanitizer, a ton of signage, our students were all given masks as well as gaiters, and they are all wearing them. We did opt to keep a residence hall open that we were going to renovate, and we kept it open so that we could move into a low density housing model where students were given the opportunity to have single room, double rooms, but as a single. And so that was a great thing to offer students. What we saw was a natural thing. Sophomore students living in the residence halls already have friends and they get to actually pick their exact room. So they opted for a lot of singles, and new students coming on campus, because you want a roommate, that's part of the college experience, opted for roommates, but everybody had the opportunity to have a single. We have a COVID-19 response team that has been in place since March when we left campus. It is comprised of not only the Clark County Combined Health District, director sits on that. We have multiple staff members. We have local hospital affiliate. We have alumni that span all sorts of different backgrounds in medicine, from pediatrics to epidemiology. And one was so lucky to come out of retirement last fall and take on being the director of his county health department and then COVID hit. So we have him on that team as well. So we have a lot of very informed people serving on that team that are meeting all the time, all summer long. They met 3 days a week, 3 hours a day, and so very dedicated to the process. So I think in working in conjunction with all of them in the health department, we have been in decent shape for what it looks like. Social distancing, lots of changes in the dining hall, lots of changes in athletics and fitness, the ability to work out and just work with the numbers. Social distancing in the classrooms, removal of a lot of chairs and tables and desks, and just so that there are just enough seats in those classrooms for students to sit in. So I hope that answers the question. Anything else? You are very welcome. If we have any additional questions, like I said, please feel free to email me. Once again, my number is, or my email